is good, YouTube? Quinn Wade Basketball Analysis coming to you with a quick video. I wanted to let you guys know I got some new merchandise available, not just t-shirt anymore. I got different type of t-shirt, different type of shirts and logos that you can purchase on my spread shirt, and also hoodies now. We have expanded and added more to the channel and more merchandise for the brand. Thanks for supporting. It will be in the description and the links will be in the comment section below. Thanks for helping me and supporting the movement. Quinn Wade Basketball Analysis. I'm going to check out the video. What is good, YouTube? Quinn Wade Basketball Analysis coming to y'all with a quick video. I basically want to talk about the Philadelphia 76ers. They got off to a good start early in the first couple weeks of the season. They took a little bit of a hit, and now they're going right back up the East ladder. And this is a popular topic that I never personally made a video of or never really talked about, even in person. And that's breaking up Joel Embiid and Ben Simmons. And I done heard a lot from people, and even on the TV and the media and the radio shows, that eventually people feel like they're going to have to break up Ben Simmons and Joel Embiid because they don't really get the best out of each other, and they don't really complement each other that well. And it's noticeable because they both not great shooters, and from mid-range and from three. And Ben Simmons isn't the guy that really wants to score. He's more of a guy that wants to facilitate and keep his teammates involved. But he don't really put that much pressure on the defense because he chooses not to shoot. And he chooses not to collapse the defense because people know he doesn't want to shoot. So they can just wall him off or try to keep him away from the paint. So that way they can clog it up for Embiid, who is a guy that everybody feel like he should be in the post. He's big, he's mobile, he's going to be unstoppable on the block. But it's hard to do that when you don't have shooting. They especially struggle a lot more now that J.J. Redick is gone and Tobias Harris has been off and on with his three-point shot the last 2 years, especially in the playoffs. Last year, you couldn't buy a three. And you look at Al Horford, a guy that can knock down threes, but you prefer him impact the offense in other ways and just be a spot up 3-point shooter. And you look at Richardson, he's still just now learning how to shoot. He just became a decent 3-point shooter not too long ago, and he hasn't been as reliable in the beginning of the season. But we knew that he wasn't a guy that's going to get you 20-plus points a game at this point, especially with as much talent as they had on his team. He wouldn't even be the third option on a team like this, and he's not. And he shouldn't be because he's not an all-star caliber player, but he is a guy that can fill out his role, which is defend and switch and guard multiple positions and give you offense when it's needed, not that you should depend on them offensively, which they don't. But when you have two all-stars and Ben Simmons and Joel Embiid, that should be the focal point of your offense, and that hasn't been able to have them have success in the playoffs. And sometimes they just a team that we just don't know if they really want to win a championship because they just don't have that dog in them, that aggressiveness. And it's just interesting to see them play together and see that they don't really mesh, and for them to still be high lottery picks and Ben Simmons being Rookie of the Year and the All-Star, they haven't made the progress in the development that we thought they would at this point of their career. You look at the deals that they made last year, they should have won the title with that team. And I don't really want to hear no excuses. You have a season when you have two of your best players as all-stars, and you get a trade for Tobias Harris, you trade for Jimmy Butler, and you have a starting lineup that's just as good as the Warriors. And well, not as good, but a little bit less because they fit better, and they shoot the ball a lot better, which means the chemistry is better, the spacing is better, but they fit better than the Sixers did. And that should just tell you right then and there, you shouldn't be losing to Toronto when you have a team of Ben Simmons, J.J. Redick, Jimmy Butler, and Joel Embiid, and Tobias Harris. There's no way you should lose with that type of team. That's a super team. And Tobias Harris was even playing at an all-star level. People even felt that Tobias Harris should be an all-star last year because he played that great for the Clippers. And then he comes over to Philly and they figuring it out, but they also had plenty of time left to get it all right because they made the Jimmy Butler trade earlier, and then the Tobias trade. You still had a couple, about 2.5 more months left to figure it out going into the playoffs. And to me, when you have that load of talent, and Joel Embiid struggled in the playoffs, so did Ben Simmons to a certain extent. And then you were relying on Jimmy Butler to carry you when Joel Embiid, this is his team. Jimmy Butler knew that coming in, and you can make an argument that Jimmy Butler played better than Embiid, who was supposed to be the most dominant top 10 player in the NBA. And now a lot of people not even putting him in the top 10 anymore this season, and that shouldn't happen because he didn't have a severe injury. He didn't have a severe fall off. I understand his numbers are down because they have a lot more talent and a lot more mouths to feed this season coming off the bench and having the type of starting lineup that they have. But Joel Embiid, like I told y'all years ago, he never been a dominant big man to me. Yeah, I know he averaged 28 last year, but he turned the ball over so much. And his field goal percentage wasn't what it needed to be. His 3-point percentage didn't improve to what it needed to be. And Ben Simmons, he really didn't make any progress at all the last 3 years. And that's disappointing too because that's a guy that you just gave a max contract to, and that's a guy that you feel like was a building block and one of the biggest foundations to have this team going in the right direction. And he has had a worse season than he had the other years. And this was supposed to be a season where they got heartbroken, they got tore up because of the Toronto Raptors and Kawhi Leonard hitting that shot that ended their season. They don't seem like they're that hungry. They don't seem like they want to go out there and prove a point. They don't seem like they want to go out there and dominate and obliterate the NBA. And I feel like that the last 3 years. I knew they was a good team. I knew they had talent. I knew that Embiid and Simmons were good. But time after time after time, they come up short in the playoffs, or they don't really have that mentality to kill their opponents off, even in a regular season. And that's what you need if you want to be the number one team in the NBA. You have to go out there and blow these teams out. You have to go out there and make these teams fear you, make these teams respect you. And I feel like teams like this team, but they don't fear this team. And I think that's not a good thing when you have that much talent on this roster and teams feel that they can go out there and just play their game and they can beat you or they can go out there and compete with you and win. You don't want any team to feel like that when you're trying to be the best team in the NBA, when you're trying to go out there and dominate. And you should be trying to obliterate your opponent and take this ring. But I don't really see that. I see it in Milwaukee. I see it in LA, but I don't see it in Philly. And the reason why I bring that up is because a lot of people like me felt like there's no way the Sixers can't be the number one team in the East, or at least the number two team in the East. Now they still have time to do that, but that's what I'm talking about, that hungriness, that attitude, that ability to let people know there's nothing you guys can do to stop us. There's nothing you guys can do offensively or defensively to get past us. And they just don't have that lockdown killer mentality. And that's why, honestly, I feel like they're going to be stuck. But to answer the question, should Ben Simmons or Joel Embiid get traded and who should get traded, I think that you definitely trade Joel Embiid because modern day centers don't win championships really anymore. You know, he barely can post up. Even if he does, he doesn't make the right decision enough. He isn't the most efficient from there with his face up game being decent, his post game being decent. But on this team, they don't have enough reliable shooting to get the best out of Joel Embiid. Yeah, he is a great rebounder. Yeah, he is a great anchor of that defense. But I feel like Joel Embiid, if you get the right piece back, you can just put a rim running center or switchable center at that position and just, try to go with this team, move the pace a little faster, stretch the offense out a little better. And Ben Simmons can get to the basket. He can post up on switches like he do sometimes. So that way he can dominate offensively. And if he has the ball in his hand, he's a walking mismatch. Plus, you still got Horford, you still got Richardson, you still got Tobias. Allow them to take more shots and be more of an emphasis offensively. But I think you can get a good haul back for Joel Embiid because he is one of the better players in the league. He is one of the better respected players when it comes to players in the league. And, he is one of the dominant players to a certain extent in the NBA. And that should be able to get you a good haul back. Ben Simmons can get you a good haul back because he is young, he is an all-star, and he is already under contract. But Ben Simmons is a lot easier to play with than Joel Embiid because he's more unselfish. He's more of a pass-first guy. Plus, he is younger, I believe. Don't quote me on it, but he should be younger than Joel Embiid too. But he also has that type of style that's the modern-day NBA. When you talk about a guy that can get to the paint and get to the free throw line, but also collapse the defense, find the bigs that run to the rim for lobs and alley oops, and being able to kick out the shooters that can either put the ball on the floor or knock down spot up threes. Joel Embiid, he's not a great mid-range shooter, not a great three-point shooter, and it's just hard nowadays to post up. And in that case, that should be the guy you get rid of. It just depending on the package you get and what you're getting in return, because you're not going to try to rebuild. You're still going to try to compete for a championship as long as you have the roster that you have right now. Even without Joel Embiid, this should still be over a 50-win team, just with the team currently constructed without Joel Embiid. So I really want to see what they do. Elton Brand has shown that he's not scared to take risks. He's not scared to move guys. And if he feels like this duo can't get the job done, or they're just not good enough together to win a title in Philly, then I think just like everybody else, this is a team that you should be looking at and saying, how can we get better? How can we get over that hump? And it might be destroying and dismantling their duo, Ben Simmons and Joel Embiid. Like this video, check out my older videos on my channel. I have many playlists. I break down rookies, I break down players, I break down summer league. I do cover the draft, and I got a mock draft up already. Not only that, I do podcasts, and I also talk about the game of basketball, whether it comes to summer league, free agency, trade deadline, buyouts, and also I cover top 10 discussions and stuff like that. So you like this type of video, you like the NBA, check out my older videos and my playlists. I enjoy making these videos. You guys enjoy watching.